Man's recognized three essential needs are food, clothing, and shelter. Primitive man first killed animals for food, and later learned that the pelts or skins from these protection against cold and rain. Some early from skins or plants could be twisted into thread or yarn, and this yarn could be interlaced into a sturdy, long-lasting piece of cloth. Thus began the textile industry, which in America alone provides clothing and other basic fabric needs for almost 200 million men, women, and children, and is the direct source of nearly 1 million jobs. America's textile industry is big. It is diversified in the products it makes, and its plants are modern inside and out like this one. Textile plants can be found in such diverse places as North Carolina's Piedmont region, hilly northeast Georgia, the sandy flatlands of South Carolina, cozy communities in New England, and cities of the Texas Plain. America's textile industry is located in 42 of the 50 states. Its raw materials are just as diversified. It uses man-made fibers such as nylon, rayon, and polyesters, and it uses natural fibers such as cotton, silk, and wool. The industry consumes about 8 billion pounds of all fibers each year in making yarn and cloth. All manufacturing processes must have a beginning. In textiles, it is the opening room. Here, cotton is removed from the bale and given its first cleaning. Several bales are blended to ensure uniformity. Here also various natural and man-made fibers often are blended to make certain types of yarn and cloth. This machine helps remove foreign matter from cotton and transforms the fibers into a compact roll. The roll is called a picker lap, shown here being removed or doffed automatically and sent by conveyor to the next process. This device is a carding machine. Note the rope-like strands as they come from the machine and are coiled into the red container. The tangled mass of fibers in the picker lap roll has gotten its first process of straightening and paralleling as it moved through the carding machine. The next step after carding is drawing. Here you see several strands called slivers combined into a single strand which is drawn out without twisting and reduced to about the same size as one of the original strands. In production of certain fine yarns, combers like these further straighten the fibers and literally comb out the shorter, weaker fibers. Then the remaining strands go through another drawing process called finisher drawing. The genius and efficiency of the American textile industry are evident throughout a plant, and one example is this room filled with roving frames. On the roving frame, the fibers are further drawn out and at the same time are given a carefully measured twist as they are wound onto a large core called a bobbin. The strands are now called roving, which is the final product of several drawing out operations which precede the actual spinning. Spinning is the final step in the making of yarn. When this process is completed, the yarn then is ready for several steps which prepare it for weaving. This is a spinning frame. Fibers in the form of roving are fed to the spinning frame where they're still further drawn out, twisted into yarn of required size or diameter, and wound onto bobbins, all in one operation. Different fabrics require different yarns. Types of yarns include single yarns, plied yarns, and cable yarns. Plied yarns are 2 or more single yarns twisted together. Cable yarns are 2 or more plies twisted together for such uses as tire cords or rope cords. This machine, a twister, does the job. After yarn has been twisted, it must be packaged in the form required for further use. It may be put on cones, tubes, skeins, or a package called a cheese. The job is done with this ingenious winding machine. A skilled employee places the yarn in its proper place, and the giant mechanism automatically ties the yarn from one package to that of the new one without changing the diameter of the yarn. This is a warping creel. Here yarn is pulled off cheeses and transferred to a heavy roll or beam. For the first time, the yarn takes on the shape it will maintain throughout the weaving process. This is known as warp yarn, which is the lengthwise yarn in a piece of cloth. Filling yarn, which forms the crosswise strands in cloth, goes directly from spinning to weaving, packaged on small bobbins. Yarn slashing has nothing to do with knives. In slashing, hundreds of strands of warp yarn at a time are drawn through a boiling starch solution to give it a protective coating for the weaving process. The yarn is dried in the same slashing process and wound onto loom beams ready for weaving. Shown here is a weave room filled with the textile industry's basic machine, the loom. The loom or weaving machine transforms the strands of yarn into cloth. The principle of weaving has actually changed a little through the years. It is simply crossing of warp or lengthwise yarns and filling yarns which cross each other at right angles. There are different types of looms for different tasks. One of the newer types is the shuttleless loom, shown here. This loom is used to make wider fabrics, such as drapery material. And this strange-looking loom is one of the textile industry's most complicated and valued machines. The jacquard loom weaves intricate designs into fabric, including names, pictures, and messages. The secret is in the massive punch cards at the upper left of the picture. The cards guide the machinery of the loom, just like a roller guides the keys of a player piano. Not all fabrics are made on looms. Another method is knitting, which is especially popular in producing fabric for hosiery, sweaters, underwear, and athletic equipment. This knitting machine makes fabric by using needles to interlace yarn in a series of connecting loops. Finishing of fabrics involves several processes which make the cloth usable. Gray or unfinished cloth is first bleached in a continuous piece that may be as much as 1 million yards long. Then color may be added by dyeing. Dyeing basically is the art of coloring textiles so the color seems to be part of the material. Textiles are generally colored in two ways. Either by dyeing the yarn before weaving, as in the package or vat dyeing shown here, or by dyeing the fabric after weaving or knitting. This cloth of a single color is rolling from a continuous dyeing range in a modern textile finishing plant. Designs may be printed on fabric, just as pages in a magazine are printed. A method gaining popularity is silk screen printing, done automatically by this machine. Another method is machine roller printing, in which the design is engraved on copper cylinders, one for each color. The textile plant, finished or unfinished, without a thorough inspection to make sure it meets the highest standards. Here, fabric by the mile passes over inspection frames, while skilled eyes watch for any flaw that would cause the cloth to be rejected. In most cases, this is the last chance the textile company will have to make sure its product is of the best quality before it is shipped. Most cloth made by textile firms is sold to garment manufacturers or makers of industrial products who then make it into an end product, a shirt, dress, yachting sail, or conveyor belt. Some textile companies, however, also make such finished household products as blankets, towels, carpets, sheets, and pillowcases. These items are trimmed and packaged at the finishing plant. This is a sewing room where drapery fabrics are hemmed. Even after all the effort, textiles must still be sold. The Textile Selling Center is in New York City, where many companies have sales offices in gleaming new buildings. Inside, textile salesmen show customers new fabrics, designs, and colors. There are other textile sales offices throughout the country. This is a textile design artist at work. Thousands of such patterns are prepared each year in textile studios. Today, more than ever, research plays an important role in America's textile industry. Men working in textile laboratories are making new discoveries each day. They are developing new methods and finishes, such as stretch fabric and durable press. so a discerning public can obtain stronger and more versatile textiles. The textile industry is also taking part in the age of the computer, which now performs textile tasks from bookkeeping to dye mixing. Thousands of young Americans each year turn to textiles for rapid advancement and bright careers, such as sales, production, management, designing, or accounting. Many prepare themselves at the excellent textile schools located primarily at Southern and Eastern colleges. Here are some of the products produced by America's modern, dynamic, progressive textile industry. These stylish fabrics are but a minute sample of the combined products of more than 7,500 textile plants in this country. Different fabric constructions and patterns run into the thousands, with new ones introduced each day. High fashion, of course, is a major consumer of glamorous American textiles, as shown here. Textiles are everywhere. In this busy street scene, they can be seen in the clothing of pedestrians, in awnings on storefronts. Unseen but still there are textiles in the linings of hats and shoes. The textile cords in truck and car tires provide strength, durability, and safety. Textiles are in the fan belts and hoses. Textile seat covers, upholstery, and carpets lend comfort to motorists. On the highway, at home, at work, at play, Americans depend on textiles. Textiles are important to our armed forces, too, in Cold War or hot war, for everything from uniforms to tents to sergeant stripes. There are about 22,000 separate items of clothing, textiles, and individual equipment in the U.S. military supply inventory. Textiles are being used in the space age, in suits for our astronauts, and linings for their spacecraft, and in many other ways. The textile industry, of course, is much more than machines and products. Its most important asset is its people, nearly 1 million Americans who run this vast industry. These employees, like those shown dining in a plant cafeteria, enjoy the American conception of the good life. They are proud of their textile industry and help it produce more than $19 billion worth of products annually. And these skilled citizens receive more than $5 billion in wages and salaries each year. This story of one of America's great industries never ends. Textile companies continually grow to fill the needs of an expanding population. In one recent year, textile firms spent nearly $1 billion on new plants and machinery. This industry is proud of its past and enthusiastic about its future. And the new plant and its flag symbolize something more. The textile industry and America grew up together. They shall continue to be partners in progress.